Good evening. Keeps up the cash. Gary B, the cash getting better by the minute, and I am joined by my echo. Let's see. Someone is. Anyway, echo notwithstanding, we have with me, as always, my good buddy Rob from Rob's Fat Stacks of Comics. How you doing tonight, sir? Tired, I see.
Tired, but I'm unmuting myself so that way I can prove that I'm not the one who's echoing.
So yeah, someone's got this open twice. We have Digger Jim right below me. How you doing, Jim?
Good.
We
Actually,
have
it's not being open windowed twice. The delay is too short. It's actually monitor speakers into the microphone.
And then TJ, we got you here tonight. How you doing, sir?
How we doing?
All right. And of course, we have our man of the hour. We are talking none other than the bearded Avenger himself, Ruby. How you doing, man? Nice to have you on the show, Ruben.
Good. How are you guys?
Doing excellent. So you, for so long, were never a face to any of us. You were just a guy that was always in our comments, dropping a casual Cowabunga fam and saying hi. And so most of us in the community, we've had an appreciation of you for a long time. And then we got to meet you, which was even better. But before we get this whole train rolling tonight, for those watching on the rewind who may not know who you are, please give us just a quick cursory summarization of yourself and your channel, sir.
My name is Ruben Guzman. My friends call me RubyG. My channel is White Tiger Triple C. White Tiger, for those that don't know, was the very first Puerto Rican superhero created by George Perez. And so I kind of took on that moniker just to kind of represent my heritage as a Puerto Rican. The Triple C stands for Cool, Calm, and Collected, which is what I strive to be most of the time. But I just enjoy comic books. I enjoy anything really kind of that I can obsess over. I'm a little OCD. So anything that I can collect, anything that I can take apart and put back together. So if you go to my channel, you'll see I deal in anything collectible, customizable, consumable. I live in Bend, Oregon, so it's a big craft beer town. So I like to drink my beers. Right now I'm drinking a little whiskey. Cheers, guys. Nice. It's also a big cannabis town. We have like 30 dispensaries here in town. So that's like another thing I like to dabble. I like to snowboard. Cool, calm. That's why I'm so cool, calm, and collected. But for the most part, everyone knows I love my comic books, and that's why we all get together and we like to talk about comic books.
But how long have you been collecting, Ruben?
I first started collecting comic books in 1995. I was 6 years old. But I only collected comic books for a very short while as a kid before I got out of them and then got back into comic books again, really hot and heavy in 2018 is when I kind of rediscovered my passion for comic books.
What brought you back though? Was it a certain title or was it the movies?
No, it was actually, so I was doing a lot of YouTube surfing at the time, and I ended up finding, this community just through surfing YouTube at the time. And this would have been 2018 because I found out about I had a local I found out I had an LCS in my town through I found out about Free Comic Book Day because it was May 2018. So I found out that I had an LCS in my town. I went and checked it out, and I was like, "Whoa, this is rad!" I started sifting through all the old back issues and stuff like that, and finding a bunch of old books that I had as a kid because I no longer had any of my books from childhood anymore, and it just clicked in me like this reignited this love that I had as a kid, and I was like, all right, I'm hooked. And I started going back to that shop every week, spending ridiculous amounts of money on worthless back issues that only meant anything to me. And then it got to the point where the owner of the shop hit me up and he was like, "Hey man, you keep coming in and buying all these books from the 90s, but do you read any new books?" And I didn't at the time. At the time, I didn't read any. I didn't know what was going on in comic books. So then he got me a couple books going on my pool, and I started reading new books. And that's how I started getting into modern comic books, into what's going on right now. And that's how I started my first pool.
Nice. Now you got a couple favorites, right? Obviously the Spider-Man, obviously Power Rangers, and obviously Ninja Turtles. But so you got quite a wide range of taste. And is that how you've always been eclectic like that? Just latching on to a lot of different things and you like the mix of it together?
Yeah. I don't really fanboy out on one thing too hard or another. I kind of find what I like about everything, and kind of find something to enjoy in everything. If I don't like something, it has to really, really suck. Like I'll try to find the good. I'll try to find the good in anything and everything. So, but for the most part, I don't really try to tunnel vision myself when it comes.
Now, you froze up. So you said you like to find the good in everything. Rob has had this question for a while, and he wants to know if there's any good in the Clone Saga. We lost him.
The answer is no, Gary. There's nothing good about the Clone Saga.
Just making sure you're still awake over there, buddy.
It's taken them 20-something years before they finally did the first good thing, which is potentially turn Ben Reilly into a bad guy.
You have to reboot.
And stuff like
let's all get some stuck
like he just got into one of the dispensaries.
Just take a picture.
Ruby, if you can hear us, man, you're stuck, sir.
Oh my god.
That's okay. Can you talk? Can we hear you at all? I think he completely froze up on us.
Yeah, I think so too.
So, gentlemen, what's going on with you?
I wanted to do a snippet of that screen. I think that would be incredible.
Right? Oh, did he just rejoin us? I think he's back. There he is.
Guess who's back? Maybe.
Let's see.
All right.
From a black screen.
From the great beyond.
Yeah,
maybe.
He's black screen on us now.
Yeah.
Incognito.
We got a snowstorm in Bend, Oregon already, and it's just blacked it out.
Snowstorm in May, not likely.
There you are, Ruby. How's it going, man?
Okay.
Yep, now we got you.
Sorry, guys. That's my bad. My internet's no good. Sorry.
Yeah, time to get you a new AOL disc. That's what.
No, right? Tate, I love it.
Oh, shoot.
Is it a pull one out?
I got props. Wait, I got props. Here we go.
Oh, I thought it was going for the AOL disc.
Right?
Except it'll probably be like net zero.
Yeah.
Alta Vista.
No. I have one in here somewhere.
On my gateway computer.
I believe you have one. You couldn't escape those things. They're at every gas station, supermarket,
Oh my
Cookie
gosh.
Mart, everything. It didn't matter.
They were.
Somewhere around here, I have some DOS discs.
So circling back to what you were talking about, Gary, in a way. So Ruben, I know that you draw a lot yourself. For me personally, I like the art. Like when I go to look for a comic, I'm looking for the art to capture me, to pull me in. A beautiful cover, or even beautiful interior arts are even better. Whereas other people are story. Are you more story or art?
So answer your question, art for me. I'm more art, but I heard this question asked the other day. I can't remember who was talking about it, but they were saying that I think it was Beck. I think it was your last in the hot seat with Beckerman. And he was saying that a good story can save bad art, but good art can't save a bad story or something like that. And my argument to that would be that with good art, you can tell a whole story without any words.
Without any word. That's why I look at it.
You don't need a freaking story. Just give good art,
right?
And you're good to go. Case in point, G.I. Joe 21. John Byrne did an issue of Batman with no words. I'm trying to think who else did. Frank Miller did an issue of Sin City with no words.
Yeah.
That's why we come to comic books. If you don't want pictures, go read a novel.
Right. I agree 100%. That's why I asked. Thank you. Checkbox for RubyG and me.
You just become best
that's always been a running thing with my brother. He's like, oh, it's got to have a good story. Screw that, man. I want beautiful art. I can get a story from a book, but this is a comic book. I need art in it. So
Jim's on a personal mission to prove his brother wrong. Brother against brother.
You have gotten in the middle of beef.
I know what I walked into.
You're fueling the flames, RubyG.
There you go.
But to answer your question from earlier, Gary B, I think I got cut off. I was saying how like I try to enjoy everything, and the reason I do that is because I don't. I guess it's like I guess you can call it FOMO. It's if you find a way to enjoy as much as you can, then you can't miss out on much. You know what I mean? Whereas I feel like a lot of people miss out on things because they hate on it for one reason or another. And most of the time they're hating on it for the wrong reason. Like I know so many people that hate a band that they've never even heard their music, or they hate a movie that they've never even seen for one reason or another. It's just stop hating and you won't miss out on so much.
And I got a theory about that too. Cause I'm from the era where we're lucky just to get anything superhero, no matter how bad it was. You just loved it because you finally got it and it was never available. Now we live in a time of embarrassment of riches where we're just lathered with all this great stuff and fun stuff, and there's no shortage of it. But I think with the advent of social media, people have thought that they only feel like people take them seriously or think they're smart if they're hating on something. And I'm the opposite. I don't care if you think I'm stupid if I like something. If I like it, I like it. And like we were talking about earlier, I've already taken a lot of heat because I love this new Doctor Strange movie. I don't care. I had a fun with it all the way through. And, if you want to not respect my opinion because of that, I'm okay with it.
I have one single gripe with the Doctor Strange 2. Can I give one
absolutely
minor spoiler, just a very minor spoiler? So in the movie, they mention that the MCU is the 616. No, it's not. It's not the 616. In no way, shape, or form is identical to the comic book.
Exactly, it's a comic universe.
Exactly. It's not exactly. It's so different from the 616. The fact that they called it the 616 made me so mad that I jumped out of my seat. I was so upset.
Did they have to escort you out of the theater, Ruby?
No, they didn't.
I didn't even think about that at first.
I didn't either.
I caught the 616. I was like, okay, cool, yeah. But now that I think about it, you're absolutely right, because we've established, like in this MCU universe, several changes from what's the established 616, including especially the whole Uncle. We just experienced the whole Uncle Ben Aunt May thing with the switch flop on great power responsibility thing and all the but
it hit me as soon as she said it.
What's that?
As soon as she said it hit me, but it didn't really bother me. I think once it got hold of people, it bothered them, but it didn't. I assume they're saying we got a 616 comic version and a 616 movie version.
It's just them playing fan service to the fans that know, but unfortunately it's a poor application, because then if you really stop to think about it, you go, wait a second, then what's my 616?
Plus, I think somewhere they did give it this designation of 19999 or something like that.
I think
I think
so.
the MCU does have a
Illuminati did.
number somewhere.
Yeah.
Now,
Interesting. 1999.
and go, yeah, and going back to my other point too, like if you generally dislike the movie because you just really honestly dislike it, I don't have any problems with that either. But I'm just talking about people that just prematurely hate things to hate things.
Right.
Like you said, it's just not something I think was around before all the social media, and I think that just stirred it up quite a bit because we live in an era where people say things without fear of repercussions.
Right.
You know, or if you say that when you're to someone when you're younger, well, be ready to take a punch and give one back if you have to.
You know, what was interesting is you'd have people that would do movie reviews. They were, Siskel and Ebert. They didn't agree a lot of times on movies, but, they weren't nasty about it. They were clinical.
Right.
They would have reasoning behind why they approached it from two different ways or, whatnot. So, but at the end of the day, they were like shaking hands saying, yep, respect your opinion.
Absolutely.
I
still remember watching that show as a kid too.
Yeah.
I used to watch it every Saturday. Now, Ruben, you're something of an artist too. You've been doing sketch covers and the like, and you just did that sweet "Something's Killing the Children" that you gave away. What got you into drawing? Was that something you started as a child, or you kind of discovered your artistic side as an adult?
No, that's something I started real young. I kind of discovered, I discovered that I enjoy stuff like that at a really young age. But I tell you what, man, 1995 was a big year for me. 6 years old was a big year for little Ruben Guzman. I discovered a lot that year. Like,
you just made Rob and I feel really, really old.
Oh man! All right, let me do the math.
I was 25 in 1995, Ruby. Anyway, sir, continue. Pop in my hearing aids and make sure I'm steady on my cane.
It's a big year. Continue.
It was that was the first year that I actually discovered like proper comic books. Before that, my only exposure to comic book characters was through other mediums like television shows and movies and stuff like that. So that was the year I discovered actual comic books. That was the year I discovered things like anime. And that was the year I discovered James Bond. For those who know me pretty well, I'm a huge 007 fan. And that was the year that did it for me. GoldenEye.
But which Bond? Which Bond is the Bond?
Oh well, Sean Connery is the Bond.
Okay.
But I grew up with Pierce Brosnan, so I have a little pre-inclination towards Pierce Brosnan. But that being said, I'm educated. Sean Connery is the man. I do enjoy my top 3 James Bond movies would be number 3 would be Dr. No, number 2 would be Goldfinger, and number 1 would be From Russia with Love. So all Sean Connerys.
See, I actually liked Roger Moore quite a bit too. I liked his suave Bond,
suave Bond.
But the Pierce Brosnan Bond does have one of the best one-liners in it. I thought Christmas only came once a year.
Yeah.
Oh man, it's so good. Denise Richards. Yeah. That was a good era. That was a fun era. But so 95 was the year that did it for me, particularly because my mom got a new job that year at a little company in South Florida called Techno Comics. Techno Comics later became Big Entertainment. But they were a tiny little publisher and they did mostly like sci-fi and horror and like pulp kind of stuff. A lot of big names that did a lot. So like I got to see a lot of cool artwork that came in the mail there. Like a lot of cool like Jay Lee pages, Sienkiewicz pages, George Perez pages. I saw some Art Adams pages come through there. So I mean, at the time I didn't know what I was seeing, but looking back on it now with my education, I was a spoiled six-year-old hanging out when my mom at work. And so she was an accountant. So while she was in her office running numbers, I would go hang out with a guy named Albert in the printing department. and he was the guy getting the pages in the mail and stuff like that, and scanning them and getting them ready for print and stuff like that. And I'd be in there drawing, and he would print my stuff for me. My mom probably still has these old little comic books I made as a 6-year-old. I remember doing a little like 3-page Batman comic. I think each page had like 3 panels on it or something like that. I remember creating my own character and doing a couple little books. But that was my bug, and that was something even after I stopped collecting comic books, I still kept doing all through middle school and high school and beyond. You know, I always had a little notepad or sketch pad, and I was always sketching.
Watch out, Warner Brothers is going to find out that you had that book published, and they're going to come after you for copyright.
Yeah, somewhere out there's a Batman book with a Techno Comics logo on it.
All right, so
I just like the fact that Mom was an accountant at a comic company. It's like best of both worlds.
Yeah, it was a fun time. She was there for a couple of years, like 90. I remember the summer 95 and the summer 96 when I was out of school. I would go to work with her, and I would just spend all day in that printing room drawing. And my entire collection as a kid came from that guy Albert that worked in that printing department. He got me into everything. He got me into anime, James Bond, comic books. Like that was the guy that tainted me.
Oh, he wasn't grooming you.
Yeah.
So we know your favorite James Bond. Who's your favorite Batman and your favorite Spider-Man?
Oh man, well, my favorite Batman is Keaton. I grew up with Keaton. I was in high school by the time Christian Bale came on the scene, and I love Christian Bale's Batman. I absolutely love Christian Bale's Batman. But I was already, you know, I had my learner's permit. I was already driving by the time that dude stepped in the Batmobile. So Michael Keaton's my Batman. But his favorite Spider-Man, Tobey Maguire. Yeah, again, that's who I grew up with. Until we get a live action Miles Morales.
All right. We'll get that eventually. You know that's got to come.
Yeah, it's got to come.
But when they bring Miles in, I want to see the Prowler too.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
So
you can't bring Miles back his uncle.
You think they'll bring back Childish Gambino to do the Prowler?
I think that would depend more on what Childish Gambino wants to do.
Right, Donald Glover, that'd be dope.
Yeah. I mean, that guy's always got a lot of things going, and depends on if that's what he wants to do at the moment.
Big enough paycheck. Like, hey,
Right.
man, we'll give you $30 million to pack on 30 pounds of muscle and wear this suit, this bright green and purple suit.
Better yet, you don't even have to put a suit on. We just have a stuntman do it, like Mandalorian, and you just come here and talk for us and provide your face for some CG on.
There we go.
Now, if you did get Miles, who do you want to see him fight?
So I actually kind of enjoy the Ultimate Universe version of Green Goblin, that big monster version of Green Goblin. Wow. I think if they somehow did a version of that and made it work, I think that'd be really cool.
I forgot all about that version till you just re-brought it up.
Yeah, I think that'd be pretty sick. But let's see. I mean, I've never been the biggest Spider-Man fan. I enjoy Spider-Man as much as the next guy, but it's really Miles Morales. That's my boy. I'm just representing, my Puerto Rican. So I've always been more of a fan of like Kingpin, more so because he's always been kind of like a Daredevil villain. I'm a huge Daredevil guy, more so than Spider-Man for sure. Daredevil, Hulk, and Silver Surfer probably are my biggest Marvel characters that I would say are my favorite Marvel characters.
Well, and those cross pretty much all the Marvel spectrums from street level to Avenger World Threat level to Cosmic.
Right. To Cosmic,
right? I like to put my germs on everything.
they've all been Defenders.
Oh,
yeah, Defenders.
Nice
I love the Defenders. Absolutely, yeah. Namor and Doctor Strange too. A couple of other big heavy hitters.
That would be interesting to see Namor.
Oh, and the MCU, yeah, I can't wait for Namor. I'm a big I like Namor and Aquaman. I'm a big like those water-based heroes. I like those guys too. I like how they usually come off pretty savage and feral, depending on what the creative team is. I kind of enjoy that approach to those characters.
Well, I hope when they do Namor, they make him at least 3/4 of the ass he is in the comics.
Yeah, he has to be a hardhead. He has to be.
Right.
Well, he has to be regal. He's like supposed to be this king, and he wants everybody to be beneath him. I think that's how they're probably, put him out there. And then when he goes to fight, he'll turn on the more feral side and be like, take you down. But
well, we're supposed to expect him in the Wakanda Forever movie.
Yeah, is he in? Have they cast that?
It's just
rumors
rumors
there were casting rumors, and there were rumors that's where he's going to show up, is in the Wakanda Forever, because Wakanda and Atlanteans have typically had a
uneasy relationship.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah. It's too bad it wasn't 20 years ago. They could have cast Daniel Day Kim.
Yeah, it would have been.
I don't care. Just move it closer. Daddy wants to sell some Namor books.
So, Ruby, now that you've really gotten into comics, have you dipped your toe into any other eras that you hadn't explored before and kind of got hooked? Like Rob here, who recently got really into the Golden Age.
Oh, cool. Yeah. So I've really gotten really hot and heavy into the Bronze Age. That's my favorite era. Yeah, that's the era that I missed, right? Because I was born in '89, so I was born right in the middle of the Copper Age. So that's the era that just missed me by. So all those early books that I grew up with, but I didn't get to experience firsthand. Those are the books and I really enjoy that era of art too, particularly from Marvel Comics. I really enjoy how they trade dressed their books back then in the 70s and early 80s.
With a novel on the cover.
Yeah, well, with the banner across the top and how they did their little price box and stuff like that.
17 word bubbles and banners.
Yeah, there'd be a lot of pop and flash and stuff like that. A lot of what does she say in Office Space? What are the little buttons called?
Flare.
Flare, yeah.
It was basically a lot of those Bronze Age books were almost a novel on the cover by themselves.
Yeah. But I enjoy the color. I feel like those Bronze Age books, they really pop, man, and I really appreciate that style of art. But another thing too, I really enjoy that I never thought of as a kid. Now that I'm older, I really appreciate it's something very Kirby-esque. It's something from the Silver Age. It's the way Kirby would do titles, like the Fantastic Four title and the Avengers title. It almost makes me feel like I'm watching like an afternoon sitcom or something like that from that time period, like Land of the Lost or Lost in Space or something like that. So I don't know, something that Kirby did. Like when you read Kirby books, old Silver Age Kirby books, it makes you feel like you're watching a show.
Right. Well, he put so much in the background.
I always enjoy that. What was that?
I think a lot of that comes from, when he took a panel, he did the whole panel, and the attention to detail on the outside, bringing the character to the forefront in his art, kind of drew you in to make it almost look like it was a television type setup. I'm trying to find. So like that. That's the Captain America and, Daredevil. Look how everybody in the back is involved in it. This is it's like being in a fight, man. It's just huge. To me,
it's
I
dynamic.
agree with that. Yeah.
It's so much fun though. It makes me feel like I grew up watching Nick at Night, and I watched all those old like 60s sitcoms on Nick at Night late at night, and when I read old Jack Kirby, that's what it pushes that nostalgia button for me and just takes me right back to like that kind of. It really is a time capsule. Those particularly those Kirby Silver Age books for me. But I don't have very many of them.
Yeah.
So that's what the collections are for. You can just buy it collected and read it and still enjoy it.
That's actually the direction I'm going towards. I'm veering more towards hardcovers and trying and getting away from like trades and floppies and stuff like that. Just because I want to be able to crack it open and take it anywhere and crack it open and read it, when I want, not have to worry about it getting damaged or something like that. I can just take it anywhere and read it anywhere, anytime.
Getting some omnibuses and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
So now recently, I want to get back to your art, because I know you just did that Something's Killing the Children sketch. But have you had like a favorite piece that you've done lately where you really thought you found your stride and really honed in on what the character was to you?
No, not lately. I mean, so I really just started picking back up again, doing bigger, like 9x12 pieces and stuff like that, like the blank sketch covers and the pieces I did for Steve, and for Panda I did a couple 9x12 pieces.
The Panda one was I like the one you did a Panda.
that was a funny request from Lasso. That was good. But yeah, like normally, like when I'm working on my sketches, I usually do like little doodles, or I'm doing like whiteboard sketches and stuff. So I really don't have anything that I've done lately that I've had like a real emotional attachment to. I'm sure I'll get there. I have one that I actually started it on a canvas, kind of hoping it would come out. Like, I had high hopes for this piece. I was like, I'm not going to do this on paper. I'm doing this on a canvas. And then I just kind of stalled out like halfway through, and I haven't touched it in a while. And I'm hoping to jump back on it. I'm really hoping it'll come out really, really good. And maybe that'll be the one. But yeah, nothing that I have really any huge. Yeah, nothing that's really made me like super proud of when I looked at it. Like, yeah, look at me go.
They say the artists are sometimes their own hardest critic. I mean, there are several different artists out there that will draw something and go, oh my gosh, that's trash. And they throw it on the ground, and then you go pick it up going, that's amazing. He thinks this is trash.
Yeah,
give me more of your trash.
I feel like most artists settle. I feel like like you either have a deadline, or you just tired of fussing with it, and you just kind of settle, and then it's my back. We're good. Nope. What?
Yep. There you go.
All right. But anyway, I don't know how much of that you guys heard, but I was I feel like artists settle, and they kind of just we just got to leave it up to the masses whether or not it's art or not.
Nice. Now, I want to go back to another thing you mentioned. So you mentioned Land of the Lost. Keep on Collecting said that was one of his favorites growing up. So you, again, 6-year-old Ruby, little RubyG. What was he watching in cartoons? Were you into that 90s X-Men and Spider-Man and the Batman and Superman shows?
Oh yeah, absolutely. So I remember I remember vividly like my very first influence of pop culture of anything was Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I was brought home from the hospital in a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles blanket. Like my first all my onesies were all like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles onesies. Like everything I wore as a kid up until I was like 3 or 4 years old was Ninja Turtle stuff. I remember Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles as a kid very vividly. I remember Alvin and the Chipmunks as a little kid very vividly. I remember Inspector Gadget very vividly as a little kid. Heathcliff the cat.
Oh, I love Heathcliff.
Yeah,
way better than Garfield.
Great. And that was all like stuff I would watch up into, and then like Looney Tunes was on, I think at the time too, like on Nickelodeon back then, before Nickelodeon started making Nicktoons. And then obviously like all the Nickelodeon stuff at the time, like I loved all that stuff. But then it was Fox Kids. Fox Kids finally came out with Batman the Animated Series '92. Man, I remember that. And X-Men the Animated Series came out that same year, and I would say after Ninja Turtle, either Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Batman, and X-Men are probably the two biggest influences on me pop culturally. After Ninja Turtles, and then the following year, '93, is when Power Rangers came out, and I remember being little 4-year-old RubyG going to preschool with my Mighty Morphin Power Ranger cassettes to share with the class, to watch before nap time. Yeah, so definitely Batman and definitely X-Men. Spider-Man, I think, came out later. I loved that Spider-Man animated series that came out in the 90s. That was that intro. Are you kidding me? That was a sweet intro. That was a sweet show.
That's still the 60s.
Yeah, and then I remember the old school ones though too. Like I remember Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends. I enjoyed that one with Firestar, Iceman. I remember watching that as a kid before the Spider-Man animated series, and that one was cool.
But you can always hear that guitar for the animated series though.
That was X-Men.
You had the
both of them. Both of them had really good guitars, really good guitar licks.
Yeah.
But also like Hanna-Barbera, anything Hanna-Barbera, I'm in. I freaking love the Flintstones, the Jetsons, any of that old Hanna-Barbera stuff, man. Oh, I'm in on that.
Some wacky racers.
Some wacky racers, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'll always be a Scooby-Doo fan.
Yeah.
I see. My favorite
for
was always
sure.
Bullwinkle and George of the Jungle, and some of those. You get that Super Chicken.
When we growing up, I think that was
Mighty Mouse.
Our big influence was Hanna-Barbera for us. So I totally agree with you on that. And I'm glad that somebody of your age knows what that is.
Thanks to Boomerang, probably.
Yeah, Boomerang and Nick at Night and whatever else.
We knew it because of the UHF channels. He knows it because of Boomerang.
Right, Space Ghost, the Herculoids, Mytor.
Thundar the Barbarian was a big influence on Gary.
I also remember the old Max Fleischer Supermans. My dad had those recorded on VHSs. And I would burn those tapes
because a lot of the UHF channels around would play them on Labor Day weekend and stuff. They would do marathons of all those Superman shows, and everybody would record them all on VHS so you could go back and watch them again.
Right. Yeah, I remember watching the old George Reeves black and white Superman show.
Yep. So how did you?
Bob, we're looking old again.
How did you end up in? You went from Florida when you were a kid. How'd you end up in Oregon? Work or?
Oh my goodness, I was all over the place. So, well, I guess let me give you a little geography. I was born in Puerto Rico.
Okay.
And then from Puerto Rico, we lived in New Jersey, and then from New Jersey we moved to Florida, and then from Florida I moved to California. And I moved to Oregon as an adult with my wife back in 2015. We came up here to visit once, and we loved the town we came to visit, and we decided, hey, let's move here. So we did.
Nice.
I'm about to ship my youngest off to Oregon.
Right on. I only know two people, you and Slot up in Oregon. Other than that, it's a total blank.
Right.
Everybody else in Oregon.
There's a few people up here. Let me think. Bueller's usually up here. He's on the road right now, but Bueller's usually up here.
Is he from Oregon?
Yeah, he's a Portland area guy.
Mm-hmm.
I was talking about Bullseye Bob is from there too, right?
Oh, is he? Okay, cool.
I think Bueller's friend and partner Bob. I think
Bob,
yeah.
And then Oregon Wime lives up here too. I don't know if you guys know Oregon Wime on Instagram. But yeah, there's a few of us knocking around up here.
So said it might get up to Ashland.
Ashland's a little south of me. Ashland's like
it's south of you. It's north of me.
Right, south of me. They're in southern Oregon.
I'm in California, so it's north.
So now go ahead, TJ.
Yeah.
I think I remember you saying that you were gonna get out and do some nature stuff. Did you ever get around to that? Some camping or something like that?
Oh yeah,
Am I
absolutely.
remembering?
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was make sure I remembered that right. That you said you were gonna get out and do some camping.
Yeah. So we had to cancel our last camping trip because of the weather, but we have 2 more already reserved in a couple of weeks coming up. We got a couple coast trips we're gonna go down and camp on the coast here in Oregon. A place called Cannon Beach, and then a place called Otter Rock coming up here in June. We're gonna do a couple trips. And then I want to do a trip pretty soon out here. Hopefully, going out to Idaho. I got some family out there in Idaho. I want to go visit, so kind of turn that into a camping trip, maybe.
Okay.
Now we got a question here from the audience. So, wheelchair superhero. He wants to know what made you decide to do your own YouTube channel, because you were a commenter for a long time, and then you jumped into the fray with the rest of us. What turned it for you?
Man, so I am extremely shy. It may not come off that way or seem that way, but I'm extremely shy. I get very anxious. And that was something that Edwin, the comic jabroni, like helped me got through back in the day. He and I would email each other back in the day, and he kind of talked me into talked me up into braving the masses. And then when we lost him, I decided to finally take his advice and get out here and give it a shot. So
nice.
And have you enjoyed your journey thus far?
I have very much so. I have indeed. It is a journey, and like most journeys, there's ups and downs, and there's lefts and rights. And you just gotta roll with the punches and keep on going. And like I say, find the good in everything. You got to keep on digging. Life's a garden. You got to dig it.
There you
go. Yeah. And you meet, and along the way, you meet all kinds of cool people and make all kinds of cool friends.
Nice.
Well, thank
Agreed.
you. We feel the same way.
Yeah. I'm about the same way with Tony Giovanni. He was one of the first people I started watching in the community. And I spoke with him in the chat a couple of times, and he told me the same thing. He's like, you got comics, you got a phone, you got content. Come on. And I never did get up to because I'm like you. I'm kind of anxious. I'm kind of shy. I stutter a little bit, so it makes me nervous to get out in front of people. And I never did. I never did get on before he passed, but I've been doing a little something. I feel like it's probably like 15 or 20 of us running around who kind of got the inspiration from him. So that's great. I like that.
That's his legacy, baby.
Hell yeah, legacy. That's right. Comic Jabroni Nation. He was so big on just trying to get as many people in and involved, on what was happening in this community at the time, man. He was such a ray of light.
Very much so.
Thanks, Paul. That is a good origin story, Ruben.
What's your kryptonite?
Origin story.
Yeah, what's your kryptonite? Yeah, he's got it right there in his hand. Now, do you feel this is kind of funny, but not at the same time? I'm kind of serious. Do you feel that a little bit of the dispensary stuff helps with your art or not? Because I have a friend that is an artist. Well, he won't call himself an artist, but he feels like it helps him a little bit with it. Like he steadies his hand more. He's just more
I suppose
relaxed.
maybe in the sense where it just relaxes me. So I'm not so anxious. I'm not thinking about other things, My thing too is like my mind goes a million miles a minute.
Right.
So yeah, if I'm thinking about 100 different things and I can't focus on my drawing and the artwork suffers and I'm not enjoying it. That's the thing too, is if I sit down to draw, I want to have a good time doing it.
Sure.
I don't know if any of you have ever sat down and drawn, but I know it's like when you first start trying to draw to do something like this, it gets kind of frustrating and you don't enjoy it, and that's why I think like a lot of people don't keep on doing it.
Right.
But I feel like if you can just get to a point where you can put something on paper that you can just even be a little bit proud of, you know what I mean? And then you feel that, and then you're like, oh man, this is fun.
Right.
This is really fun. You know what I mean? Or you don't even have to be proud of it. It just has to look just cool enough to you where it's like, oh man, I can do this, right? Like it can be done. You just got to prove it to yourself. I lost my train of thought.
You weren't able to focus, and
Yeah, that's right. No, but so yeah, I feel like I mean, sure, yeah, I'm sure it helps in that regard where it just helps me overall kind of stay healed.
Well, I mean, he was this particular person also had medical issues, so I think it was twofold, and it's a person I worked with years ago, and I thought, man, you really are a good artist. And I asked him one time, I know you partake of that, and he's like, yeah, but it's part medical and it just helps me to stay relaxed enough and not think about other things and get into the zone. And
it's just weed, Jim.
Yeah, I don't think it really you can get really inspiration from it.
No,
it's not like a psychedelic, where
But I'm just saying. I mean, I don't know what else he took, but I mean, we were just talking about weed. We weren't talking about,
man.
Who knows what else he took, but
Flo Darren was telling you to stay off the devil's lettuce.
It's not me, Flo.
That's God's lettuce, Flo. That's God's lettuce.
We'll take you to the good dispensaries with the sommeliers.
Yeah.
Now, let's stick with a little artist question for the moment. So the Bronze Age you said is your favorite, but I want to know your favorite Bronze Age artist and your favorite modern artist.
Okay.
Who clicked for you then, and who's really clicking for you now?
My favorite Bronze Age artist, which is probably my favorite artist of all time, hands down, is George Perez. That was the first comic book I ever held in my hand and read. It was a George Perez book. It was iBot from Techno Comics. And then just the fact that George Perez not only created White Tiger, but he is himself, a Puerto Rican. I take a lot of pride in that. But also just his breadth of work is ridiculous. The man has drawn everything, and he draws it arguably better than anyone. And I dare anyone to I would love to have. I don't dare anyone. I would love to have that conversation with anyone anytime.
Such a controversial pick here.
I know. Well, I mean, obviously, people can say Jack Kirby, right? Jack Kirby's the king, and in my opinion, Kirby sits on a mountain by himself. Like, if you're gonna make the Mount Rushmore of comic book artists, Kirby sits alone. Like, you don't even need to include him because he's kind of like the obvious given, right? But
he's the one who asked the question, who else are you putting on my mountain?
Exactly.
I got to have that approved, right?
But for me, it's Perez, man. For me, it's Perez. John Byrne would definitely be up there.
Yep.
Another artist that could draw just about any hero and make it work.
He could draw anyone and do no wrong, right? Neil Adams would be another one. But yeah, for me, definitely Perez is my number one. If we're talking Bronze Age, if we're talking any age, modern age, if we're talking modern age, I mean, I grew up, I really enjoyed all the image guys, if you want to include them as modern age artists, like Jim Lee and Todd McFarlane and Rob Liefeld and all those guys. But currently right now, my favorite artist is probably, I really like Dan Mora. I think his artwork is really, really clean and crisp and dynamic.
You need one more C word in there.
Clean, crisp, and casual. But,
You owe me some money.
I enjoyed his work on Power Rangers, and then he went on to do Once in Future with Kieran Gillen, and I really enjoy. He's still doing Once in Future with Kieran Gillen. I stopped. Once in Future was on my pool up until about issue 20. I stopped pooling it. I think they're on like issue 25 now or something. But amazing artwork, and now he's doing World's Finest. He's doing Superman and Batman. He's reached the top of the mountain, and I think he's doing a great job. That being said, I think Jorge Jimenez is doing phenomenal work with Batman, and his work on Justice League was amazing. If we're putting Batmans to Batmans, I think Jorge Jimenez's Batman takes Dan Mora's Batman, but I think Dan Mora right now is probably my favorite working artist, doing interiors and covers. Yeah.
All right, so your favorite storyline in comics ever that you can keep going back and reading?
Oh, that's a good question. Oh man.
You're right, Ruby. It is the 2099 birth of that universe. That's a great pick. I like that.
Oh man, that is such a good question. What can I
just cost Rob more money? See, we know he's deep in thought. We got him stroking the beard.
Right.
You know what? I'd probably go back just because. Man. Okay, so I'd probably go back to Chris Claremont and Jim Lee's X-Men, the very first when they relaunched X-Men. Okay. I can go back to like that first 10 or 11. I think it's like the first 10 or 11 issues or something like that.
All right.
And I can read those over and over and over and over and over again. And it's the artwork, like we talked about, Digger Jim. It's that beautiful Jim Lee artwork across all those pages, man. It takes me to a place where I don't even have to read it, especially since I already know what's happening. I can just flip through and just enjoy. I can just kill time enjoying myself looking at it. And if I want to read it, sure, I can read it, but I already know what's going on in this story. I've read it a million times. I can pick up like that first 11 issues and just kill so much time just flipping pages, enjoying that, seeing stuff I missed.
Nice. We all have those runs, and it's just the comfort zone.
Yeah, it's the comfort zone. It's how
comic security
macaroni and cheese.
So I want to stump you again. See how fast we can get you stroking that beard. Now, the most underrated character not being used in comics today could be a C-list character. We've got such a gallery of characters right now, but there's underrated ones like, say, Tigra or
Flash by Night, and I already tell you who it is.
Right. But for you, Ruby, what's your
Moon Knight
underused character?
Moon Knight, Mephisto. Well, I could be a little biased and say the most underused Marvel character is White Tiger.
There you go.
But probably.
That's okay if that's your answer. Which version?
I was going to say, are you talking about the female version?
Because there's a couple different ones, right? Because there's Hector Ayala, and then there was, I believe it was his daughter, and then it was his niece, right, or something like that.
Something like that, yeah.
There was two there. There was two females after Hector Ayala, after the original. I'm fine. I don't care what direction they go with it. I think a White Tiger, whether they bring back an old White Tiger or give us a new White Tiger. I like that whole Colleen Wing and Misty Knight
Yeah.
And like all those street level like Daredevil and Iron Fist and Luke Cage, like if they can do something cool with those characters and bring White Tiger back into the mix, I think that'd be dope. And Punisher, I think that'd be cool. You know, something with all those street level characters, something that could bring White Tiger back, I think would be cool.
Do like a heroes for hire type thing.
Yeah.
Misty Knight, and then we're just playing around for a short bit with the Beyond Corporation.
Right.
I don't know. I like the old black and white magazines too, and I just read one. It had a Nightwing restoration story in it. It was so good. Misty Knight got bit by a vampire, was half turning. Colleen Wing's trying to save her. All this is going down in the streets, and it was this whole thing. It was amazing. But some of those stories where they're taking place right there are so much fun, and it was all about this one neighborhood in that story, and that's where you can really see like White Tiger fitting in with them.
Right.
Oh yeah, and you know another one, Night Nurse. I feel like Night Nurse would be another cool one that they could use a lot more.
We should write Jed McKay. Jed McKay likes stuff in old characters and underused characters in his story. So we should get White Tiger in the Moon Knight book and bring him back.
They got to have plans for him at some point. They are bringing back a lot. I mean, they just brought back Jack of Hearts. They got to be there. It's from that era. They're bringing back a bunch.
Right.
Yeah, and if we're talking DC, like an underused, I think there's so much underused talent at DC because everything at DC, especially now, just feels so Batman heavy.
Yeah.
Batman ... You know, everything's Batman semicolon with some sort of
Batman
you know,
It's only 35% of their release every week.
Fill in the blank, you know. So I feel like every character is underused at DC, so they could really set up their game there. For me, it'd be Green Lantern because I enjoyed Grant Morrison's run on Green Lantern. I think if they could give us, you know, some more like because the thing with Green Lantern is they keep trying to create new Green Lanterns. Right. I feel like especially lately in the last 5 years or so, there's been 5 new Green Lanterns, and I wish they would just focus on the Green Lantern core, on what we know and what we have, as opposed to just creating new, especially all these lanterns from Earth. It's like, oh man, come on, guys, another lantern from Earth, and yeah, like where's my freaking ring? Come on. But yeah, I wish they would take better care of Green Lantern because that's my boy, and Green Arrow too, for that matter.
That's somebody who needs some solo love. Green Arrow hasn't they rotated between Hal and at least Hal and John Stewart as far as some of the original Green Lantern characters, but Green Arrow they just kind of kicked to the curb in the last 3 or 4 years. He's taking Wally West's place in on the sideline, I think.
Right.
Well, he doesn't have a TV show anymore, so they were like, "All right, no more books for you."
Yeah, right. But that wasn't really Green Arrow.
It wasn't, but I bet it was selling books.
Yeah, that was like mini Batman on TV.
It was the Young and the Restless with a bow and arrow.
Yeah,
that's right.
Because I mean, Green Arrow to me is always going to be like back in the Brave and the Bold days in the Green Lantern and Green Arrow books when it's Oliver McQueen. He's a smartass. He's quippy, but you know, he's pretty full of himself and just a fun character to read.
Yep.
Right. Right, absolutely.
And I think like some of the creators today, they focus too much on having everything be too serious sometimes. And you forget the fun of a character.
Yeah, everyone's focused on making everything dark and gritty and real. Ever since, you know, Batman Begins and Casino Royale, now everyone wants to make everything grounded and gritty and dark and real. And you know, sometimes we just want to enjoy it. We don't need it. We don't need to feel like we're there and like we're gonna suffer the consequences with the people in the movie. Sometimes we just want to be an audience member and just enjoy, you know, the movie, or be a reader and just enjoy the story without
Right.
without
it's our
feeling
escapism.
constant dread.
Right. That's where we're going to escape dread in real life.
Yeah, exactly.
So what we're talking about it, and you're a Bond guy. What's your take on Daniel Craig?
I enjoyed the hell out of Daniel Craig. I thought he was a great Bond. Different obviously from all the previous Bonds. I remember going to see Casino Royale in the movie theater, and when that dude was in Madagascar and he ran through that freaking wall chasing through that guy, I was like, "Oh, this is the kind of Bond we're getting. We're getting this kind of Bond." Okay, it's like shit. This is
mode Bond to the franchise.
Yeah, this is a different kind of Bond.
Yeah.
But he still had the swap.
And he didn't hesitate to pull the trigger either. And the look on his face was just like, "Yep, gonna blow up everything." Boom. I was like, "Oh my gosh,
that's what you get."
I looked at my wife and I like, this is different. This ain't Roger Moore, that's for sure.
Different.
Oh, my wife fell in love with that dude. Oh my gosh.
And being a Bond fan, you never told us your favorite Bond girl.
Ooh.
Oh man, okay. So my favorite Bond girl is I'm probably gonna butcher her name, but it's Isabella I'm gonna ruin her name. I don't want to butcher her name. It's let me just Google it real quick so I can try and pronounce it right. It's Isabella. She was in GoldenEye.
Oh,
and she was the scientist that was helping him. It's not Famke Janssen. It's Isabella Scorupco. I hope I'm saying that correctly. Isabella Scorupco. But she in GoldenEye, she had the short red hair, and she was the Russian scientist that was helping him try to stop the satellite from launching. Alan Cumming was in GoldenEye. Yeah. He was the dirty hacker that worked with her.
Oh, Isabella Scorupco. Okay.
Scorupco. See, I knew I was probably saying it wrong.
See, and I think one of my favorites was Michelle Yeoh, which was the
Oh yeah.
I like Terry Hatcher too.
Terry Hatcher was good. Same movie. Yeah, absolutely.
And favorite Bond song, because they always had the one theme.
Oh God, there's so many good ones though. Goldfinger. I don't know if that's my favorite though.
Frankie Jasmine, yeah, sure.
You know what? You guys are gonna laugh. I really like Die Another Day, the Madonna one. That one makes my hips wiggle a little bit.
I thought you were gonna go Great Stones for a second.
View to a Kill by Duran Duran.
Halle Berry was a very good Bond girl.
Yeah.
Well, Halle Berry's a very good everything, except Catwoman.
That wasn't her fault. It was not her fault. I don't think. It was not. I said this before. I think if we put Halle Berry in a Catwoman movie today, better produced, she would crush. She would absolutely crush it.
Oh, and she was great in John Wick 3.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Absolutely.
What was that computer one she did with
Hackers? I mean, not Hackers. With damn it,
Hugh Jackman.
Swordfish.
Yeah, Swordfish. Oh my gosh! In Swordfish, I was like, "This is the best movie ever." She was ruthless.
Man.
Yeah. She was ruthless.
She was ruthless. It was just unbelievable.
No, definitely good. All right, we've been going a little over an hour. We'll start wrapping it up here in a second. But to touch base, because you were known and still are as a community guy, always in our chats, always supporting our channels. You helped all our channels grow, just like Las Cruces, just like Chop and Drop, just like all these guys that are doing the same thing today for us. So since you've been in here, what's the community meant for you going the other way around? Because you must have those same commenters in all your videos and kind of doing what you do. And, what's it meant for RubyG, the content creator?
Oh man, it's meant. I mean, just being a part of this community has meant so much to me. I don't socialize. Like I said, I'm very shy. I'm very anxious. So I don't go out there and meet a lot of people. I'm not a social butterfly. I don't make a lot of friends. So for me to be able to interact with so many awesome people and regularly do so, you know what I mean, and actually build up a rapport with people and friendships with people such as yourselves. It's I'm not a religious person, but I'll say it's a blessing for me. And since I've started my channel, and you know, and I'm getting people, you know, leaving comments and stuff like that, and I'm meeting even more people. I'm making even more friends. There's people that I call now my regulars, and they're the ones that are always on every video, and they're always leaving a comment, and they're always in my live streams saying what's up and stuff like that. And I appreciate every single one of them, and I see you guys. And I'm working on gifts for all my friends. We call them in the community AOKs. I have a list of people that have done a lot for me, so I want to do a little something for you guys. So I'm working on some like little AOKs here, some little sketches and comic books and stuff like that I think that these particular people in the community will appreciate. So those will probably be going out pretty soon, hopefully. But it means a lot to me. It means a lot to me seeing all you guys coming out and showing up and supporting me. So and I like to show my appreciation. You know what I mean? So that's why I'm doing. Whenever someone comes across my screen, you know, whether it's an email or an Instagram chat or live YouTube chat or whatever, and you make an impression on me, you go down on this little piece of paper. I have a little piece of paper where I write down people that make an impression on me, and it's my AOK basically.
Nice.
Yeah, and I'm kind of slow going at it. It takes me a long time to get shit done just because life kind of gets in the way. But
sure.
But yeah, eventually, you know, that stuff gets out into the world, and that'll come.
Well, you know what's else is out there in the world is Marvel and DC. And these guys, every once in a while, you don't know, they're watching the channels and everything else. And all of a sudden they come across your videos and they say, hey, this dude's got some ideas. Let's go hit him up. So Marvel and DC approach you and they say, hey, RubyG, what should we do to fix one of our properties? Now you only had time to do one. And you got to pick one property to work on and give it the RubyG spin. What character or property are you going to pick, and what would you try to inject into it to make it better?
Ooh, okay. Well, if I'm going to Marvel, I'm going to go take over Hulk.
Right?
Immediately, I'm taking
get him back to Earth.
Yeah, and bringing him back to the real world,
stripping him down to his skivvies.
Thank you. We appreciate that.
So that's step one. Step two, if I'm going to DC, what I'm going to do is I'm going to chop the Batman lineup in half. And I'm going to spread that love out, and I'm going to basically every Batman title that I cancel will get replaced with a totally different title. So that way there's more to love, because there's so much to love at DC, and it's just so sad to see it all buried underneath a mountain of Batman. As much as I love Batman so freaking much. I love Batman, guys. I love Batman.
I agree on that. The problem is unfortunately DC tries to do that too, and the consumers, as much as all they all say they don't want to see as much Batman, they keep buying Batman and they don't buy the other stuff. So Warner Brothers keeps canceling other books and turning out more damn Batman books.
I would love to see.
But as Flash and I know, they still haven't busted out a Signal book yet.
No,
What's up with that?
No. Let the sun rise in Gotham so the daytime protector can do his job.
Yeah. And I want to see a demon, Etrigan, and Zatanna team up book.
Oh yeah.
Oh, so did you guys see the Robin roundup or whatever it was? Where like you pick what the new title's gonna be at DC. Did you guys see who won that?
No,
I didn't.
Wait, has the winner been chosen? I know they were down to the finals. I didn't
I
see
don't
what.
know if the winner's been chosen, but I know there was an Atrigan story that was one of the finalists.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's
It was
a
Constantine
Superboy
and
story,
Yeah.
and then a Justice League Dark type story. I think are the two finalists.
yeah.
But they just had a Justice League Dark book that they canceled.
Oh,
Well,
it's Superboy and Suicide Squad are the last two, I think.
Right.
Oh man,
We don't
I
even
was
know
really
if
hoping for
Super-
that Atrigan.
Yeah, Etrigan didn't make it, I don't think. Yeah. It was a voting thing, Gary. You had to vote. They had a list and they were doing a round robin and you could
And they
vote
decided
who
to
you
kill.
wanted.
They decided to kill Robin.
No, they just were
Oh,
trying to
okay.
get other people to come up with ideas for them.
Yeah.
You
and none of them were like straight either Justice League or like straight pitch. All of them were kind of weird mishmash pitches and
Right.
kind of out of the box ideas for a title. So none of them were like straightforward. This one person or this one team's book. It was. So I kind of like the idea of, we let you vote on 16 pitches, but all of them are these crazy ideas, and we'll let you see what happens. And we'll let you decide what happens.
Oh, I have an idea at DC. I have an idea at DC. I would do a title, not a title. I would do a line wide event, right? So every title would be involved, and I would call it either catastrophe, calamity, or cataclysm. All synonyms for crisis.
Ah,
Nice.
You said event. The community is coming after you. You said another event at DC.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure
I
they've
got an
done
idea. Another DC event.
right.
now, see,
That'll be
I'm
number
the person-
700.
I'm of the mind that there's too many big events in the books, and it hurts their solo titles.
Yeah, I could
Like,
agree.
I want to
with
see
that.
less tie-ins. I just spend the time
There's
on the
too many.
characters.
It's too much. It's like this Dark Crisis that's going on right now. I am dropping all my DC stuff from my pool right now because I don't want anything to do with any of this Dark Crisis stuff that's going on. Right now.
I am so far on the other end because this is my first. Like I read Dark Knights and Dark Knights Metal, but this is my first Crisis in comics. I'm like, what's gonna happen? And plus, like the Flash is like, I think like the Dark Crisis book itself. I think Young Justice and like the Flash are the only titles that are still running through the Crisis. Because Barry's missing it, and so they got to find Barry, I guess. But I don't know if
There's
any other
another Flashpoint going too, right, TJ?
kind of sort of like the Flashpoint Batman. Thomas Wayne kind of wakes up, and the Flashpoint universe is still there when it's not supposed to be, and so there's a mystery going on in the Flashpoint universe, and our Batman. I say our Batman. I'm not sure if it's our Batman, but our Batman is kind of on the other end, putting some pieces together. But there's a whole thing going on in the Flashpoint universe, and I was gonna read it, but then I found out that like Barry didn't make it out of issue number 1. Like, what in the world? Actually, he didn't make it out of issue 0.
That's another DC trope that gets me. There's always a missing Flash. There's always either a Barry or a Wally stuck in the Speed Force, or presumed dead.
That's the backbone of every crisis. You cannot have a crisis without the Flash having a crisis.
They can't come up with something new, and it drives me batty.
And that's why they have 40% Batman books. Because it gives you batty.
What if the Flash got COVID? Then you could have COVID on Infinite Earths. I don't know. Stupid stuff.
There's a
But it's
mystery to
fun.
be solved.
That's why I'm
I'll
loving.
wait for it to come out on hardcover.
That's why I'm loving DC Vampires. It's so ridiculous, but at the same time, it's something different.
I
You
heard
know?
it was good.
Me
I
and
heard
Chris,
it's been good.
Chris the comic vet, love it, man. It's our favorite.
A lot of
I'm not
people
with
are
that.
liking that, Jim. You're not alone in that.
Yeah, I just think it's just so out there, and it's something different, and I love it. And same with Dark Knights of Steel. Just
Yeah,
a
that's
different
what I was
spin on it.
about to say. I jumped on that bandwagon, and it's been really good. And I know it's never going to happen, but I feel like with both DC and Marvel, we're finding out that everybody thrives better, at least story-wise, with these Elseworlds and short minis and maxi series and things that aren't beholden to continuity. Because with continuity, with your Peter Parkers and Clark Kents and Bruce Waynes, I know people get tired of hearing me say this, but they've been around for 60, 70, 80 years. It's hard to write new because you've had 700, 800, 900 books, or with Batman and Superman, over 1,000 books of ideas. Eventually, like right now, the Action Comics book I've heard is pretty good, but eventually trying to have new ideas on these older characters is going to be hit and miss. That's like the Hulk book. I know people don't like the Hulk book, but that's somebody trying something new on a character that's been around and has probably seen every kind of story you can imagine. And the new thing you try may work, may not. I thought Immortal Hulk was gonna be dumb. I'm like, what do you mean? Like this Hulk like dies and rises up out of the grave? Like I thought that was gonna be a bad idea. And then it was written really well. So I guess it kind of depends. But these Elseworld stories where you can start from the ground up and do what you want to do, I think really show people's talent and really shows the storytelling we're looking for, because you're not beholden to so many things.
Well, and I think that handcuffs a lot of writers.
Right.
You have writers that will kill it on an independent story that they're writing or that they're contributing to. But then you'll see them stymied when they have to do something like write a Peter Parker or write a Bruce Wayne,
right,
and stick to that.
There's so many things that have been done that you don't want to do again. Then there's a couple of ideas you may have that may be real cool, but they go against the thing that just happened, or it goes against this common core thing of this core attribute of this certain character. You can't do this cool thing because it's already been established. He wouldn't do it. And there's so many things that you have to sit down and live by these set of rules, whereas you don't usually have to do that, or at least not with all of them in a miniseries or an alternate universe kind of story.
Sure.
Right? Yeah, I mean that universe where Batman has nipples on the uniform, that's not been done, right?
That's only for the brave and the bold.
Yeah.
The brave and the cold. Ooh.
The brave and the cold.
That's what it is.
And to your brother's point, Digger Jim, because you were saying how DC Vampires is really good, and Dark Knights of Steel has been really good. That's two really good writers, in my opinion.
Right.
James Tynion and Tom Taylor.
Yeah.
I don't know if anyone else had been writing those two titles, if maybe they would be so enjoyable. You know what I mean? Because I'm trying to think. For example, well, I shouldn't even say that, because like Scott Snyder, right? Scott Snyder, I would argue, is a phenomenal writer. Dark Knight's Death Metal, I didn't care for.
Yeah.
So I guess that kind of negates my argument. It's really hit or miss. But at the moment, in my opinion, James Tynion and Tom Taylor are really, really strong writers. So you can pretty much give them anything, in my opinion, and they would really have to miss the mark to not produce a good story. I think.
Right.
I think they're just at the top of their game right now. Those two.
But at the same time, with that said, Tynion's off of Batman now, so that he can do stories like this, so that he's not stuck to the continuity. He can go outside the box. I think that's what he ultimately wanted to do. He probably wanted to do more on Batman, and they said no. And so he's like, all right, get me off of this so I can do the story the way I want, and we can just call it an Elseworld story. But like circumstances, like Marcus said, Noctera is great. That's Snyder. So
Oh yeah,
You know,
yeah. Thank you. Perfect example. Perfect example.
Yeah. So I mean, you know, potato. I'm not
Potato,
going to win the story.
One of my favorite stories this year, though, was actually the Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow by Tom King. I thought was great. It was really different.
I never read that.
The art was spectacular and just a great eight issue read. And it really gave you a deeper understanding of Kara as a character.
Nice. I have to check that out.
Yeah, me too.
You know, funny, RubyG, we're going to Heroes Con, and your White Tiger book is in the back of my mind of the book that I am going to be hunting for. Because when I went down to see my brother for Galaxy Con, I went to all the vendors, and not one single vendor had that book. Now there were only like 6 comic vendors at this con, but none of them had that book. I was like, "Are you kidding?"
Kung Fu is really hard to get, and it's that oversized magazine. So
yeah, but I'm just talking about the Peter Parker. What is that? Issue 9.
Oh, the Spectacular Spider-Man.
Spectacular Spider-Man. Yeah, I was like,
okay.
Yeah, I was like, you know what? I just want that one. I wanted to buy issue 9 and 10.
Give it away.
So, pardon me?
I don't see you. If I still have it, I'll give it to you. I might have given it away though in a mystery box.
I was like, you know, I think that is the most amazing cover, and you know, I said, you know what, I'm gonna get that when I go, and so that was on my list for Heroes Con for sure.
That's a good pick. Yeah, that is a beautiful cover. I love the bright red background with the I believe it's a blue banner across the top. Might be yellow, but I'm pretty sure it's blue across the top. And it's just a big white tiger with the little Spider-Man swinging across in front.
Right.
It's so good.
Yep.
All the protesters.
Yeah.
So. Oh goodness. Oh, great stuff. Well, guys, we are now 1 hour and 20 minutes in, so we'll wrap this up. As we go around, though, we're gonna start because I know Rob's tired, so we'll get him talking first. Rob, what's coming up on your channel, sir?
There's only one thing of importance, and that's Saturday when it's Slab Hub. Your chance to come on and watch people show off some incredible books. This week we'll have John's Comics with Kids as he kicks off our summer of holy crap. Of course, we'll give away books throughout the show. We'll have a great discussion, and we hang out and have some fun on Slab Hub. Otherwise, the rest of the time on my channel, I just open shit.
There you go.
You got to put that White Tiger book in there so you know Jim will watch and try.
I gave it up. I just looked at my inventory. I don't have it anymore. I was giving it away in one of my recent mystery boxes.
Nice.
Fun fact: the comic, the LCS where I started my first pool back in 2018 is the same LCS that John's Comics with Kids goes to. John Jameson goes to. So
wow. Right on.
He and I have bumped into each other a few times.
Jim, what's coming up for you, sir?
I am working on putting together, and it's going to involve me editing, so it could be at least a year. I'm putting together, you know, last year I reached my goal of the Marvel team-ups, buying all the Marvel team-ups, and now I'm going to break it down and pick the top 10 out of the 150 that I've read that I think are the best storylines, the top 10 stories on the Marvel team-ups. So, nice. But it involves some editing, so it takes me a minute.
TJ, what's coming up for you, sir?
I am going to, of course, do my re-up, my new comic book day, and pick up home video sometime soon, maybe tonight. I need to get back to reading so I can start having fun and reviewing some of the books I pick up. And also, I said this last week, but eventually I'm going to pro-con the Moon Knight show and wrap up the season for those of us who actually liked it. and come to the show's defense, because they made some choices, and I can't be mad at people who didn't like some of the choices they made, but I think that's the rationale. So sooner or later, I'm going to sit down and do my pro and con list for the show and give my wrap up thoughts.
Nice.
Nice.
Coming up on my channel, we got Savage Saturday Comic Review on Saturday. Then later on Saturday, we have a bonus episode of the 1011 with Tyler from Whack Comics, who will be on. All right, we have next Thursday in the hot seat, we have Biggie Shack. So a lot coming up, and you can catch this man, RubyG, in 2 weeks on the 1011 himself, sharing $10, his one with a story and one with a spec pick.
Nice.
Yeah. So Ruby, what's coming up for you on your channel, sir?
Well, tomorrow, not on my channel, but on Wheelchair Superhero 87's channel. We're going to be hanging out over there tomorrow, guys. 7 o'clock Eastern time. We're gonna be hanging out with Dustin from Two Brothers Comics. I'm gonna hop on there, hang out for a little bit. Wheelchair Superhero 87s is gonna be chatting and showing off some books. So come hang out tomorrow, guys. As far as I don't have anything planned coming up for my channel. I kind of put all my content on the back burner. I went from doing stuff daily to now I'm just kind of sprinkling stuff out there when I can. But I'm gonna try and get back into my normal flow of things. But check out my Instagram, guys. I'm regularly posting stuff on Instagram. It's a little easier when I can't make it onto the tube. Just to post an update on Instagram. So check me out there. Give me a follow if you guys want to know what's going on. But I promise I'm gonna try and make it back to the YouTubes with some regular content again. Other than that, I'm just working on these sketches here for my friends. So hopefully you guys will see those in the mail pretty soon too.
Awesome.
All right, for everyone that was watching us tonight, thank you for joining us. Thank you for watching while we got to know Ruben a little bit more. It was certainly a pleasure. Thank you all for coming out. I want to thank each of my co-hosts. Thank you, guys. The show never works unless I got some of you guys here with me. It's a great dynamic, and I appreciate all of you that come on week in, week out to give me a hand and help me out. You guys are greatly appreciated. And Ruby, thank you, sir, for taking the time to come on my channel and just giving us someone interesting to talk to. I appreciate anyone that's willing to take the time out of their busy day to come spend time on my channel with us. Thank you so much, sir.
Oh, no. Thank you. The pleasure was all mine. I love hanging out with my friends, so any excuse I can hop on and chat with you guys, I'll take it. So thank you. I appreciate the invitation. Absolutely. It was a blast.
And as we always end these things, we're going to sing ourselves out awkwardly. Awkward.